He always just seems to have liquid in the same bottle that he's drinking. I don't even know what it is.
Known my cousin my whole life, mostly, or his whole life, whichever one, I don't know. And, you know, I'm sure he's picked up a bottle or two occasionally within the past, and I'm sure he's always been able to put it down. I've always seen that he can put it down, it doesn't seem like a problem for him.
Thinking about the piñatas at these Latino parties, if you notice, they all have 4 legs, and they're horses and donkeys and creatures of myth. I mean, what do you think they're modeled after? Him! And what do you think they do when they beat him down and they tear open his insides? Then the little kids pick him up and put him in their mouths. They're eating him.
The entire thing is kind of sad, to tell you the truth. There is a man who is obviously unbalanced and unhealthy and is ranting about an imaginary monster, and I'm here talking to you about it.
I mean, even when he is, drinking the sauce, I'm sure he has a pretty good distinction of what's there and what's not. He might be a little fuzzy on details, but I definitely don't think it has any effect on whether or not it's true.
George Glass does not have a drinking problem. Well, he does have a drinking problem. His problem is he thinks he's an alcoholic, but all he drinks is apple cider and vinegar. One time we were playing a game of chess and he spilled his cup or bottle on him, and he's like, oh no, I can't get drunk tonight. And it was not alcohol. It smelled like vinegar. It smelled sort of like cat piss, but it was not alcohol.
In the few conversations that I've had with George Glass, he has never seemed drunk to me. He has always seemed crazy. Alcohol does not make you crazy. He'd have to buy alcohol. He doesn't work. I would like to believe that it was alcohol. I don't think that it is. He's probably drinking lake water.
I don't know if George Glass has any drinking habits. It would seem to support his behavior a lot. I don't know. He, at sometimes he seems kind of wound up. Other times he's, super laid back, almost like he could be on something.
As I said, George Glass is an egomaniac. He is only saying there is a monster in this lake to draw attention to himself.
I don't think he is sane enough to want attention for himself. That is a very logical explanation to a very illogical problem. Yeah, he wants attention. That's a normal person thing to do. George Glass is not a normal person.
You say to the people that think you're crazy.
What? I've never heard that before.
If people were to say that you're crazy, what would you say to them?
I would say maybe define crazy. Define crazy. That's why I wear this ties to legitimize myself, because I actually do get that from time to time.
Describe to me the shape of your average plesiosaur.
Well, your average plesiosaurus is the shape of a giant gray football with fins and a short or long neck, it varies, with a head on top.
Well, as with all things, like Loch Ness Monster, people think that, it's like 15 feet long and the size of a Buick, or, it's several, like, a school of smaller monsters that comprise one giant entity that all act independently, but they're all the same thing. So it's just referred to as this one, like, entity.
It's an aquatic lizard, of course. I don't know what classification it goes into. I guess I'd be the only expert on it, but aquatic lizard or fish. Both. Why not both? One and both.
Donnelly Park, we know what's in that lake. There are ducks, there are geese, there are catfish that may look a little weird. They do put some, that lake is not clean. But other than that, some water pumps. They emptied the lake on a regular basis.
Well, if the lake's really been, I haven't heard of it being drained twice. But if it has, he obviously hides in the mud. Where he hides, he feels closest, and he's a known doppelganger. He gangs doppels. And what are you to do?
The lake is emptied, and there's no monster. does it leave when they empty the lake?
I, for one, support the potential of the multiple creatures theory, where these smaller creatures form a larger one at will, that when they want to, or when they feel safe enough, they join together in this larger creature. But when they're scared, or when their environment disappears, they can separate into infinitely small creatures, and they can hide inside of like the mud or the rocks or something like that. They can just, become part of it and hide inside of it. And if all of the other ones are destroyed, so long as one is left, it can regenerate given the right conditions. I mean, it's possible.